Gladys and Esther. Thank you for being willing and available for this interview. It is just over 25 years when we celebrated centenary. And of course, the main celebration was in August 99. But that year, the first public event of the school was the memorial service of Graham, Philip, and Timothy, who tragically passed away on the 22nd, 23rd of January of 1999. But of course, the intention of this interview is not to revisit that incident, but I think we are going to be talking about the aftermath, or how it affected you, the school, your coming to school and all that. But I think I remember the memorial service, which was on the basketball court. And it was a very solemn occasion. And I can still remember that clear blue sky because it was February, and the rustling of the eucalyptus leaves and all that. I think that's a very, I won't say good memory, but it's one of the memories that stands out for me.
Yes.
So this time we are going to be talking to you, Esther, as an alumnus, and Gladys as a parent. And as you reflect on the aftermath of that time for each of you, and what role Hebron School played, and what for you both.
Yes.
So before we begin, is there anything either of you would like to add by way of background or introduction?
I don't think so.
Okay. No. Okay, thank you. Esther, how old were you and what class were you in 1999?
I was 13 and I was in Standard 8.
Okay. When did you join Hebron?
I joined in 1993 when I was in Standard 3, and I was 7 years old at the time.
And you joined in class 3?
Yes, Standard 3, yeah.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things, I think your dad used to visit you at that time. And we all knew that he was visiting school by his attendance in the assembly. He will come for the assembly. But of course, he loved singing and he had a strong, deep voice. And the whole school will turn around and look, but he didn't care about it. He'll just sing. That is my memory of your dad.
Yes, I remember assemblies too. I would think I'm proud that's my dad.
Yeah, that's okay. Esther, you decided to return to school for the semester, beginning of that semester or the term, which was not many days had passed by the time the school started. Can you tell us about that? And also, what are your memories of that semester or the term when you were back at school?
Yeah, so life had been turned upside down in Barry Porter, whereas Hebron was my normal. It was my safe place. So I wanted to return because that meant that I could go back to normality to an extent. My first memory of it was the memorial service that you've mentioned, and my particular memory of it was the song that Mr. Ronalds played, Love Songs from Heaven, which has become a very special song for us since then. The semester itself, I don't have a great number of specific memories, just a couple stand out. One was there'd be times where I'd break down in class in tears and I'd go outside the classroom and sit, and some of my friends would come and comfort me. And that was very, I remember that specifically. Also, my dorm parents at the time did a grief course with me, which really helped with processing some of that. Yeah.
Gladys, what is your recollection of the decision to send Esther back to school for the beginning of that term, and how did it affect you?
Um, just going back a little bit, when Esther came home in December, she said, "Mum, I would really like to finish all of my schooling at Hebron School," because she had seen some of her friends go back to their home countries, and I also, so she saw that happening, and she wanted to finish school there. So I sort of already knew that. But the school had said that she could, stay back longer, but because of the situation where there was a lot of interviews, police, people all around, I mean, the place was crowded. The house was totally crowded the whole time. Esther and the two girls with us, who were there from staying with for the holidays, they kept each other going. But when she said she wanted to go back to school, I supported her in that, because I thought I couldn't spend time with her. I couldn't spend time with her because I was in constant demand to talk to these authorities and to talk to all the people that came. They wanted to comfort me, and it was just very overwhelming. And I thought, no, she's better to go back to school where life is more normal for her and she's protected. So, yeah, I was really thankful that option was there, actually. So, yeah. But I missed her just the same.
Gladys, you used to visit school quite frequently.
Yes.
How important was that for Esther and for you?
Well, for me, it was really important to spend time, to be able to come to school where, for me, it was like a safe, normal place. And I knew that once I was at school, I was, even if I wasn't staying there, but I was, I did stay there one time. But just being that had sort of like, she'd been there, 7 or 8 years by that stage. And so that was important to come. And for me, it was important to see Esther, and I think it was important for Esther too. But she'll have to say that herself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think soon after Esther came, after a few days, you came to Hebron, right? When she joined in the first term, like your brother had come and then kind of, yeah. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, my brother arrived in India about a week after it had happened, and he was with me when I put her on the train with. Fortunately, I had arranged with other parents to take Esther and Philip back to school because it affected my teaching Timothy, the younger one. So, and my brother, seeing the situation with people constantly demanding my time, he said, "Gladys, you need to get away from here. You need a break." And I thought about it, and I said, "Well, the only place I'd like to go would be to Hebron School." So he and another person arranged for us to fly down to Chennai, and then we caught the Meti Express, whatever it is that it was called, to Metropolitan, and then we caught a taxi up. But it was so good to arrive at school and just get away from that constant morning to night.
My memory is, I think it must have been standard 10 or 11. One day I walked into a dorm, and there all of you are in the common room having the toast and having your special red ant pickle. And I think it was, I think you offered me some as well. It was crunchy and sour, and everybody was enjoying that.
Yes. Yes, the red ants were one of my favorite delicacies. So I always enjoyed bringing them and sharing them with everybody.
Yeah, I remember it was quite a big bottle of red ant pickle.
Yes.
It was not a small one.
No.
So it was, yeah, that is my memory of that. Yeah.
Yes. Hebron was what I knew, and I had so many relationships with the supportive staff and with my peers already. And so I felt known as me. It meant I could be just Esther, nobody special, nobody famous. And so it also meant that I could continue my education the whole way through my school years without having to learn a new culture, without having to make new friends, without having to make that massive change that it would have been had we had to go back to Australia. So no, I don't have any regrets. I'm very thankful that I could continue through to the end with all the support, and Hebron did feel like a safe place where I could just be myself, and all the opportunities that I had at Hebron as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You complete your A levels at Hebron, as you said, and while you were there, you excelled in several areas. And but what were some of the highlights or fondest memories for you?
So many. The first that comes to mind is music. I think I spent a lot of time in the music department during my A levels, between learning the trumpet, playing in band, jazz band, brass quintet, and all the performances associated with that. Developed really good friendships with the music teacher at the time as well. But then also sport, particularly inter-school hockey. I have so many fond memories of the inter-school hockey competitions over many, many years of my time there. And hockey is still a sport that I very much love. But then also the dorm outings. So many opportunities with dorm outings, but particularly times when we did rides, bike rides down the hill to places like Quiet Corner and other places. I always really enjoyed that. Then there's the Duke of Edinburgh treks, the North India trip, and just even the enjoyment of learning the lessons in classes with supportive teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cycling must be running in your family, because my memory of Philip is, I mean, he had just joined that August, right? And he used to cycle around that Inters dorm, and from the Silverdale Inters dorm, and he'll be cycling back and forth there. I used to keep my scooter next to the dining room, so there'll be a big smile on his face and he will greet you. And every evening I used to see him cycling. So I think cycling it's a kind of passion for you. Yeah. Do you cycle, or did you cycle, Gladys?
Yeah, we used to cycle. At Barry Potter, I used to cycle. I cycled down to the market.
Wow.
And
Okay.
Esther and I cycled down to the market the night before everything changed.
Okay.
And, that's how safe we felt. But we'd cycled out to go to a Bible study a couple of days before that. And that was
Okay.
quite, 3 or 4 kilometres.
Right.
Yeah, probably nearly 3 or 4 kilometres. But I often cycled. I had a cycle, and if I wanted to go downtown, down to the market, I just hopped on the bike and cycled and went. Yeah.
So it's a family who loves cycling.
Yes.
Yeah, and Graham used to cycle, and everywhere. He just cycled as many places.
Okay. Right. Esther, as you continued at Hebron, what are your reflections of some of the challenges and benefits of being at Hebron?
I think just going back to that first semester, one of the challenges was the fact that I really missed Philip. As you mentioned, he was at Hebron, and I think he was actually there for 2 years before the events. So I'd actually had 2 years of having him there and the joy of sharing that's with him. And so things would happen and I'd want to tell Philip, and of course he wasn't there. But the benefits were so many. The benefits of being in a community of caring staff, and also supportive friends from all sorts of cultural backgrounds, but such rich friendships that I still cherish and am very thankful for. And the input of staff in so many areas, emotionally, but also spiritually. I really valued that. They had a very big impact on me, as well as the opportunity just to be myself and to finish that schooling out at Hebron. Yeah.
To both of you, looking back, what were the advantage of staying in India and at Hebron?
Well, I've already mentioned a lot of them.
Yeah.
The intense support, the opportunities, the rich cultural background, and I think the chance to finish off well. So, I mean, India was the country I grew up in. India was the culture I knew. Hebron was the school that I knew. And so to be able to finish, to stay there and to be there meant that I could finish at the same time as everyone and head off to a different culture, but I wasn't alone in facing the challenges of moving culture, because all of my friends were as well. And just the rich understanding of the world that comes with living at a place like Hebron and living in a different country also.
Gladys, do you want to add anything more to it?
Well, the advantages of staying in India for me were it had become home to me also. I mean, I met Graham over there when I was with another organisation. I had my 3 children there. But then, yeah, just being able to then go down to Hebron where Esther was to see her complete her schooling was really important, and to watch the progress, and and to know that when by finishing at Hebron School, she was finishing with her friends. She couldn't have gone any further, so that that loss of finishing halfway through or even finishing a year earlier wasn't there. And then when she came back to do tertiary education, well, everyone who does tertiary education gets thrown into a new situation, so they're all sort of learning together. So yeah.
Okay, is there anything else either of you would like to share about the Hebron experience and or the role that Hebron School and Hebron family played in your lives after the events of 1999?
I think just to round it out, that Hebron is such a unique experience. There's so many opportunities, there's so many rich friendships, and a wider perspective of the world that Hebron gave that I'll carry with me. So the skills and the friendships and the perspective are things that have carried with me since I have left Hebron. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gladys, you want to add something
Yeah,
more?
and for me, Hebron gave me a wider family. Family in the sense that if we'd just been in where we lived in Barry Porter, I wouldn't have got to know so many people, international people particularly, even not just international people who, Indian people also. And just, I think it added to the richness of our as an adult, and the friendships and just the people that I got to know. And I wouldn't have met them or got to know them if I didn't have children at Hebron. So I'm really thankful for Hebron for what it did for Esther. I mean, what it did sounds funny, but for the experience she had there, and also for what it gave me too. So yeah.
Thank you once again for your time and for being with us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.